Guys, and welcome back to the Chaotic Kitz channel, where I, Michelle, document my life here on YouTube as I try to become a full-time author, while also traversing the world of multiple personalities. That sounds interesting to you, stick around, but today we are going to be working on JJ's project, which is my young adult Christian fiction novel that I hope to eventually get traditionally published. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so today is Sunday the 11th of January. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you guys. Last week was not a good week for me. It started out pretty good on the 4th and 5th, but then from the 6th until today, I just haven't really done much of any work. Honestly, it was mostly because, it started off because I read one of my chapters in the Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving book. I decided to restart that and take notes and journaling on after each chapter that I read. I only typically read one chapter of that a week, or whenever I feel like I need to read it. And I sent a journaling session over to my therapist, and I know that God works in mysterious ways. And whenever I was journaling this session, it was about shrinking your inner critic, I think. And I don't think of myself that I have an inner critic, but I was writing, I was like, oh my gosh, I do. And then that day for the Bible in a year, we were talking about how Moses, when he was getting the Israelites out of Egypt, he kept hardening Pharaoh's heart, and Father Mike, I listened to Father Mike's podcast about it, but he talks about how what he means by hardening is having God is the sun, pretty much. In this analogy, God is the sun, and most people's heart are like wax, where they will melt with the light from God, But with clay, they will harden to the light of God, And I was just it was a rough day. Well, I'd say rough day. I had a lot of words, but I was just making so many connections to my life. It was kind of hurtful. Not really hurtful. It just it made me rethink things. And just kind of be I don't know how I feel about this kind of thing. But yeah, and then I was just going back into time, remembering things that sometimes I do like to remember things about my past, but also sometimes I don't. But the thing that I got, that hit me so hard was something that my math teacher used to tell me back in 5th and 6th grade. He was like, oh, it was about, if you've read The Traveler's Gift, which I want to buy that book and read it, there's these 7 mindsets that you need to have for life kind of thing to be successful and stuff. And I was gonna say med provider, I'm sorry, I'm half here still, but my math teacher every day was like, oh, Michelle, choose to be happy, because I was not a happy camper during middle school, high school years. I was a grouch. So I have another crafty word. It starts with a B, but I'm not going to say it. But, I was just not okay with life. And, I was reflecting on that, and I'm like, did that teacher notice and recognize that I was going through a hard time? Because I swear, it felt like this teacher was following me almost. Because 5th and 6th grade, had him as a teacher. No, 6th and 7th grade, we had him as a teacher. Then we had to transfer over until 8th grade. He followed us into, we consolidated. He came over with the 8th grade year too. Then 9th grade, I was on, my class, we were only our class of 8, but our specific class didn't have him for a year. And then later he became our principal. And I was just like, dude, this guy's following us. And he always kept saying, choose to be happy, choose to be happy. And it pissed us off something fierce. But now here we are reflecting on it and being like, if we would have just listened to him back then, would we have been better off? And I know It's not like you can go back and change history and stuff. But it's just like, it, like, why would we be so angry back then? And, like, I do realize a lot of our, like, trauma that we have is a lot of, like, verbal abuse and, like, neglect and stuff. And, like, we sometimes don't view that as true, true abuse. Because, like, whenever we think of abuse, like, or severe abuse, we think, like, hitting and things, like, the physical actions. But we have more psychological aspects to us. And it's just like, damn. Damn. I don't know what else to say to it. Yeah, so that hit us hard. Then we had therapy on Tuesday, and we cried, and then some of our alters who were like, okay, we've done enough crying, because some of us in our system don't like to cry. It's just who we are. Like, they don't like to cry, and I will say they are males, which are in our family, like, males were always supposed to be taught, like, don't show emotion, don't show emotion, don't show emotion. And honestly, that's how I felt too growing up. Like, you weren't supposed to show emotions. Not because, like, I was a boy. It was just, I reflected so much of myself with my brothers. And even my sister. And, like, she does have issues too. But, like, I don't know. Like, I always kind of felt more connected to the boys' life. That sounds weird to say, but, like, I don't know. I've never been happy being a girl, but, I'm not going to do anything to change it, kind of thing. But yeah, it's super interesting to see how things have evolved over time. And that's honestly the reason why I've taken last week off of writing and recording videos and stuff. Even though I did have videos go up, I couldn't manifest, like, not manifest, but I just couldn't be presented as one person. Or, like, even feeling okay. Because there's a lot of fighting going on. Just in our head and stuff. Yeah. But we're feeling better, so that's the good part. I'm going to take a little break. We need to just sort out our head because it's getting loud again. But we are planning on working on JJ's story. So we are going to get our stuff that we need for JJ's story. Come back and talk about JJ's story, what we need to do, kind of thing. So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, guys, I have taken a little break, and I'm sorry, my pinky is incredibly itchy right now. So we are working on JJ's story. It is a young adult Christian fiction contemporary coming-of-age storyline where a character named JJ, that's why I call it the JJ story, is going through a mental health crisis. He is basically discovering that he is a system. The reason we feel, the reason why we feel qualified to write this is just because we are, us as this body is a system. So it just makes sense. Well, it doesn't make sense. So, like, we wanted to write something that reflects on our, an issue that we go through, kind of thing. But yeah, we are on chapter 20. We are at 55,520 words. I'm not entirely sure where we left off with the book, because the last time we worked on it was on the 2nd. So we are going to go back and reread chapter 19. If we add any words, we add words. Otherwise, I think we're just going to read it. And then I think what our game plan is to work for an hour and a half until 12 o'clock. Then work up until 12 o'clock. Then go into lunch. Then come back for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then after that, do some reading. That's kind of the game plan. Yeah, so I say I've done enough talking. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, so it is lunchtime. I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break. I wrote 1,444 words in... I just did one sprint. Well, okay, I technically did two sprints. Two sprints. The first one was like a 15-minute sprint, rereading chapter 19, tweaking a little bit. I only added one word to it, but I just changed kind of like the grammar and stuff in it. And then the second sprint that I did was a 50-minute sprint. I was just basically writing whatever I felt like. Well, not whatever I felt like, but like writing the next chapter. I felt like it was a pretty much of a fluffy piece. Like, fluffy might not be the right word, but like it was just a piece to show how this one character is actually a little, or like a childlike alter. So it's just her being upset about this one fact, and stuff. But in this, so that's part 1 of the chapter, and then part 2 is going to be, them having, like, JJ and this alter having a conversation, being like, for them to understand each other. And then the next chapter is going to be them, well, maybe I should just have this split off into 2 chapters. I don't know, we'll see. But what I really need to do is go back and put, like, POV perspective chapters on things, ever since chapter 13, I've been putting, like, squiggly marks in between lines, and also since chapter 13, I've been having multiple POVs. But you have to keep in mind these multiple POVs are just different alters within JJ's system talking. So I need to put, like, squiggly lines being, like, Julian's POV, or, the names of the characters in them. So I need to do that. But yeah, I'm taking a break for now. Will I come back and write after this? Maybe for like an hour. And then I will switch into some reading. I'll probably read the Complex PTSD book. And then think of something else to do. I don't know. But this was a good writing session. I'm glad I got back into writing today. Yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit, okay? Bye. Guys, today is January 12th. Yesterday, after, like, when I went to lunch, that's kind of all I did for working on JJ's story. I did record a video for, that'll go up tomorrow, or it goes up on Tuesday, the day, I'm recording this on Monday, it goes up tomorrow for me. But it was just the kind of looking at my desk kind of thing. Yeah, so if you're interested in watching that, go check it out. It should have been the video before this. I'm kind of proud. I'm proud of it. And basically in that video, like, if you guys didn't watch it, like, if you guys ever have, like, want to do more personal videos, like, have me do more personal videos where I'm, like, talking about my life rather than just focusing solely on my books, I will talk more about that. I will probably still be a little, like, not share full details and stuff, just because there's privacy and stuff, but also, you don't need to know everything. But yeah, I recorded that, uploaded it today, it's uploaded, ready for tomorrow. And today I'm going to get back, also yesterday, I worked on reading the chapter 1 of the Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving book. When I read that book, I just take, like, X chapter, like, whatever chapter I want to read, or think I need to read next, and then I will on YouTube, I'll then look up and be like, okay, chapter 1, like, I'll look Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving, chapter 1, and it'll usually come up with a audiobook, or at least someone reading the book aloud for me. And it helps so much because, like, it is a mental health book, and mental health books are so dense and so complicated. And, like, I've read this chapter 1, like, 3 times. I keep learning new things as I keep going through it. Yeah, and, like, I did try to, what I'm doing with the journaling session, like, so I am journaling all my books that I'm reading, or a good portion of them. And so what I'm doing is, like, I'm taking, like, so say I read chapter 1, I take, like, some bullet point list of things that I related to. And then at the end, I'll have, like, a thought section, and then I'll write how I reflected / thought about it. Yesterday, I didn't do as good and thorough job as I would like to. So maybe after I finish chapter 20, I'll go and, not reevaluate, but rewrite, not rewrite, but just expand on it a little more kind of thing. Just because I'm like, I feel like I half touched it, mostly because at that time, I was kind of fading in and out. When I'm fading in and out, I honestly am not sure like, that's just the best way I can describe it, is fading in and out. But I don't know what causes it necessarily. It could be me switching and I just don't realize it. Because, like, for me and my system, like, we are very, like, fluid, I guess. Like, some people, like, there'll be times whenever, like, we are a certain, like, a concrete person, like, whenever we're working on drafting, the person who is, like, writing the book, so for JJ's story, it's Grace's work. So when we're drafting, Grace is taking control, and, like, during the first edits and stuff, Grace is in control. And then after that, we kind of fade out. Like, she fades out and lets everyone else kind of come out. But, like, whenever it's just, like, us doing nothing, like, it's very fluid. It's kind of just, like, everyone will kind of come up to the front of the head, but just kind of be like, ooh, la-di-da-di-da, let's do this, let's do that. And, like, we never do anything because we're just so listening to everybody that there's no concrete, like, this is what we're going to do kind of thing. Because otherwise, we'll hurt some people's feelings and stuff, and it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Says somebody who's got to deal with it, but we're taking it slow. Unlike some people who want to go a little faster. Anywho, what? So, I'm sorry, I just went on a rant. But so today we are working on finishing up chapter 20. Yesterday where we ended off on I want to say act so badly, but part 1 of the chapter. So, since act 2 started, so since chapter 13, I've been having, like, these 2 different parts of the story, or 2 different acts, 2 different parts of the story, like, there's part 1 and part 2, and they're represented by different altars. Not each, like, it's not always the same altars, but, like, take this one, for example. So, the first chapter, for Act 1, it was, for chapter 20, part 1 is in the little girl's perspective. And I think part 2 is going to be in JJ's perspective, or it's going to be in the emotional support animals, like, voice and stuff. And I will let you guys know, like, since I do have, whenever people read this book, right now I currently have, like, the spiritual animal altar. I do have that as a POV character voice, because they are just as much as an altar. Like, they are an altar just like everybody else in the system is an altar. So they are a real life character. At first I was going to have them be silent, but I'm like, they know a lot more than they let on. Besides just being there to comfort the little, like, they have a role. And, it just shows, like, I don't know, it just shows the different dynamics of the head, Because, like, I do have a support animal in my head. Actually, I have 2 support animals now. One is a mountain lion and one's a bear. The bear talks out loud, or at least I can understand him. But the mountain lion doesn't say much. He just kind of comes in, curls up when he needs to curl up next to somebody, and just kind of does that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, whenever I get to the point of having this book be done and I feel very confident in it, I will send it to sensitivity readers. And a lot of the sensitivity readers are going to be systems. Just because I'm like, this is a book about mental health, and DID or OSDD and stuff. So I'm like, I don't want what I'm saying to be reflected solely on characters for people who are non-systems, like, I want to make sure I'm reflecting all lives and aspects of systems and stuff. Yeah, so it'll be something interesting. I've been talking for 7 minutes. I don't know if there's anything I need to really talk about now. I'm just getting anxious and I want to work, so I'm going to take, like, a 25-minute writing sprint, go back at part 1 of the story, and then get started in part 2 later. So I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye! Guys, it is about 11:38. I'm going to go take a lunch break. I just got done finishing writing chapter 20. I'm pretty sure this is the end of Act 2, which I'm super, super grateful for. I need to go back and reread Save a Cat. Save the Cat Writes a Novel. That's kind of the structure I'm basing this off of. But I'm pretty sure I just hit the end of Act 2. I'm at 58,251 words. I've added 1,287 words to this chapter today. Yeah, I'm feeling really confident in it, and I was thinking back to the first act of the story. So I have acts, like I said, the chapters, I'm breaking up the story into acts. Act 1 is chapter 1 through 12. I need to condense that a little more and not have it be so bulky, because it is 34,000 words long, and Act 2 is 24,000 words long, and I'm like, I know it's 10,000 words difference, which is kind of a lot, but I don't know, it just depends. But I really need to get this word count down, because I'm already at 58,000 words, and I'm like, if the story's supposed to be 75,000 words long or something like that, I have only 2,000 more words to play with. 20,000 more words to play with. And I'm like, I need more words for that. So yeah. But yeah, that's kind of all I gotta say. I don't really know so I'm gonna go eat lunch. I think I will come back and edit some more. Or reread, edit, stuff like that. And then I might be sending this act to my editor and seeing where she's at with Act 1 of the story. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say. I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye. Hey guys, it is currently 3:14. I originally tried to come on here, after 1 o'clock. I did some cleaning downstairs, I ate lunch, and then I was like, oh, I need to go back upstairs and work some more. And then I got upstairs and I was like, I don't feel good. But I still try to push through working, which, is a terrible idea. And whenever I push through and just try to force myself to work, usually I do stupid things. And what I did today was I was going on to Word. Yeah, Word. I went to my Word document and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do grammar and the editor and stuff. And I was like, oh my god, you're so stupid, child. You are so stupid, because yes, the grammar's not correct, but that's what our editor's for. And so we were changing things left, right, and center, and I'm like, oh gosh, we just made probably a lot more work for ourselves than we need to. But what is on the the Google Docs that we have, that gets sent to our editor. While what's on Word is our final draft. Well, it's kind of complicated of how we do things. So it starts on Word. Word is where we first draft our documents. Then it goes to Google Docs. We kind of do the Grammarly, do some spell checks and stuff. Then we go from that point, we then copy and paste, go back over to the Word. Then with the Google Doc, once everything is the same, we put it on Google Doc. We then send that to our editor. And then once the editor gets it, we'll edit on Google Docs. Then we'll go to Word and edit some more there. But the reason why we work on Word so much is because we typically publish our own books, and we format our own books too. So we just have it all formatted already. But with JJ's story, like we've said, I think we try to make it obvious. We are wanting to get this picked up by a publishing house. We're gonna query it. But it's just gonna be a work in progress until then. And we know that'll probably have to be on Google Docs, but it's just something we're thinking of. But so the chapter ended. The book ended. Sorry, chapter 20 in the book ended at 58,393 words. I was doing a little bit of math based on how long Act 1 is and how long Act 2 is, because I'm pretty sure I told you, I've ended Act 2, and I'm this is a pretty confident ending, and ending it for Act 2. Act 2 ended up being only 8 chapters long, and 23,000 words long, while Act 1 is 12 chapters long and 34,000 words long. Did I say 12 chapters and 34,000 words? I don't know, I'm half here and half not. And I'm just like, I don't entirely like how long the beginning of the book is. And I'm just thinking to myself, how am I going to go around editing it? Like, I want to get started editing it now so then I can tweak it a little bit to make the words not so, feel like I'm getting up in like the 60,000 words, 75,000 word long book, you know? But I'm like, I already sent Act 1 to my editor, and I'm like, I can't do all my edits without having her edits first, because then I'm combining two different like edits together, and it's just not happening. So I emailed my editor today. She was on Christmas break, so she didn't work on it. She said she might get it done by the end of the week. Probably gonna give her, I'm not giving her a deadline, but, you know, hopefully by the end of the month, she'll give it back to me. But until then, I'm gonna take probably, I don't want to say take a break from writing JJ's story, because I still want to keep writing it. But I think I'm gonna take the next, like, let's see, 8 chapters, so if I do 2 chapters a day, so the next 4 days, well, not necessarily the next 4 days exactly from this point, but, like, take 4 days to edit the book, the Act 2, so chapter 13 through chapter 20. Make sure I think it's all as good as I can get it. Put that on Google Docs, and then eventually get that ready to be sent and printed off. Well, sent off to my editor and stuff. So if I do that, I don't know. I don't know what my schedule is like. Well, like, how long I want to work on things, or when I want to, like, how, like, I don't know how to put this, but, like, if I want to get started right away with editing books, the second act, or if I want to go take a little break and then come back to it, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just going to go in and just edit and tweak a little bit. Yeah. But otherwise, I feel like today's been a pretty good day. I really don't have anything else planned to record on this video. So probably the next time I'm working on this young adult Christian fiction book, I will probably be editing, and I'll probably have however many days worth of editing all in one video, if that makes sense. So, like, if I do take 4 days to edit, it'll be a 4-day video. Well, does that make sense? Like a 4-day, like a vlog for 4 days. But yeah, that's kind of the game plan. Yeah, and then I'll start Act 3. I think I really need to go back and reread the Save the Cat Writes novel, just to make sure I am getting the points correct, or at least hitting the right points where the acts are supposed to end at. But yeah, that's what I got going on. I will see you guys in the next video, where I don't know what I'll be doing. But I hope you guys all have a lovely day, and don't forget to keep making fantasies come true, one story at a time. I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye!